On the 14th of March, the NTIA announced its intention to transition its stewardship role and called on ICANN to launch a process with the multi-stakeholder community and to facilitate that. So it's very important that we're the facilitator for it, we're not running it, that brings together all stakeholders and comes up with a proposal that meets the criteria set out by NTIA. And all that information is available online. Through consultations with the community and extensive input, we received proposals around how to create a coordination group and how that coordination group should be populated with representation from 13 different stakeholder groups, a total number of 27. To be selected by those stakeholder groups themselves and then have responsibilities for pulling in the proposals from the community itself, come up with one that meets the criteria set out by NTIA. So that would be the first process. The second process itself relates to ICANN accountability. So a topic that came up in relation to NTIA's announcement was what happens to ICANN regarding accountability when its relationship, its historical ties to the U.S. change, when that ends, through the ending of their role in the stewardship role. And that's an important topic overall. ICANN accountability has always been an important topic, and we've taken it very seriously. And we have the affirmation of commitments with the U.S. administration, which have a review mechanism around that itself on accountability and transparency. But looking specifically at this issue, it was important to launch a process as well and to look at what we have in place, what we need to look at strengthening, what may be some identified gaps, and how to solve for those. And so that process was also launched, and the work of that process and how that's going to function is under discussion right now. And the work of that, in the end, will help address that specific area of concern. And of course, the organization continues to be committed to strengthening its accountability more broadly. Where we are now and where we're going, from a community standpoint, it means continuing to do our jobs and doing it well, continuing to be accountable and transparent and engaging globally. And from a staff standpoint, it also means engaging with our community members in doing our work and continuing to do it well. Accountability has always been important to the organization. To be a global functioning organization, you also have to be accountable to its communities. And the bylaws themselves outline many mechanisms. We have numerous mechanisms that exist. Even the selection process for board seats and various other things are demonstrations of accountability to the community and to the organization. Obviously, we have governance and we have requirements under existing laws that we need to be adhering to. We have review processes, we have independent review processes, and importantly, as I mentioned earlier, we also have the affirmation of commitments, which in of itself has a review process that involves stakeholders from around the world. So a multi-stakeholder review mechanism that looks at accountability and transparency and comes up with continued recommendations that should be implemented. In fact, we're just in the round right now of taking the report that came out of what's called the ATRT2 and moving to implementing that. So it's a continued commitment that exists for the organization, and it takes it very seriously.